Joined by a senior journalist, Mr. Madhavan Narayanan. Sir, a very good afternoon to you and thank you for your time to Mirror Now. Now, you being a journalist, I'm sure you've covered this case from the scratch. How do you view this development coming in from the Supreme Court, where the killers of Rajiv Gandhi have been freed after 31 years, that is more than 3 decades? How do you view this development? Also, if you can just take us through what exactly does the law says in such cases?
Well, I must say that this is actually, I'm not even sure if the word killers is the correct word for this thing. They are convicts, yes, in what was actually a political assassination. You have to look at the sequence of events. In 1987 or so, Rajiv Gandhi, as Prime Minister, sent Indian troops into Sri Lanka to disarm the Tamil Tigers, and there were reported cases of excesses, and then Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated by LTT. But the key points to note are that there was a number of people convicted of the murder, out of which the core two people, including a suicide bomber and the main conspirator, Sivarasan, were immediately killed in the aftermath of, dead or killed in the aftermath of the assassination. Therefore, it is only the extended conspiracy surrounding people who were said to have helped the main assassins. They were the convicts. And if you look at the fact that 30 years of past, this is much more than, let's say, what a life imprisonment would be under the Indian law. So to that extent, a political assassination has already run its course in terms of punishment. So there has been sufficient punishment already meted out to those who might have helped incidentally or willfully in the whole process. And therefore, it's an appropriate step taken by the Supreme Court of India. I don't know what the law specifics are, because the law can always be interpreted. There are even everything from clemency for convicts to degrees of punishment exist under law for various levels of conspiracy and being an accomplice to murder. And given that it's a political assassination, it's important to understand it politically. I think some of the issues that you raised to the BJP spokesperson were extraneous to this issue of the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. The governor of Tamil Nadu has got nothing to do with what is going on right now in the Rajiv Gandhi case. It's all about what happened 31 years ago. Therefore, to that extent, I think we should take this as a case of moving on, putting the past behind, because there have been lots of gray areas in the whole thing, right from what is India's role in Sri Lanka to what LTT did, and India's failed role as a peace broker between the separatists of Sri Lanka and the mainstream, and whether India was used by the then Sri Lankan government. There is a complicated political, diplomatic issues involving geopolitical details and issues of what is nationalism. So there were a lot of... enough is enough for everybody. Enough is enough. India has paid a heavy price for trying to help Sri Lanka in the form of assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, and the LTT has been vanquished and crushed. Sri Lanka's economy is now in a crisis. So it's time to open a new chapter, and I see this release of convicts as just an attempt to put the past behind and maybe head for better times.
All right, Mr. Madhavan Narayanan, appreciate you joining us live with your 2 cents on this big story. On this note, in fact, I'm also being joined by Dharani Dharan from the DMK. Now, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for making time exclusively for our channel Mirror Now. Finally, a very key development coming in from India's highest court, a move that especially your government has been batting for and has been recommending since long. How do you view this development? Your party's first reaction to this key development coming in from Supreme Court?
See, I think every party, political party in Tamil Nadu was requesting for it. And this was pending with the governor for the last 7 years. I think the first mercy petition, which was approved by the Council of Ministers in 2015, was sent to the governor, and it's pending since then. And the Supreme Court itself has commuted their death sentence to life imprisonment in 2000 after Sonia Gandhi herself accepted their mercy plea. So I think the actual process of judiciary should be to reform and not to punish. So they have been there for 31 years. It is more than twice life imprisonment. So no person should be should be punished for about 31 years. So we welcome this decision.
All right, like you very rightly mentioned and pointed out that this also in fact puts the spotlight on the larger debate how the main job of the judiciary should be to reform and not to punish. Now, do you think somewhere the fact that this development is coming after 31 long years, do you somewhere view this as a delay of justice?
See, I think justice delayed is justice denied. So I think the problem is the judiciary has to be, they should be more proactive, and then the cases should be disposed of as quickly as possible. Not just this one. I think most cases in India are pending. I think 76% of the prisoners in jail or under trials is because the cases are pending. So I think this is inhuman. So judiciary should be much more proactive in processing applicants.
All right, Mr. Dharan, thank you so much for your time to Mirror Now. So remember, that's the big development that we are tracking at the moment. A very key development, a very key observation, a judgment rather coming in from the India's highest court, where Rajiv Gandhi's assassins will be walking free out of the jail after a long wait of 31 years. Finally, these assassins in fact also include Nalini, who's in the past also moved the Supreme Court seeking her release. Remember, it was in the month of May that Perarivalan, another key convict in the case, was ordered to be released by the Supreme Court.